Pathstone Mental Health is the regional provider of mental health services for children and youth in Niagara, helping almost 4,800 last year alone. And here comes one of them, 17-year-old Matt Beard of Pelham. 2 years ago, Matt's life was deeply affected by crippling anxiety. He received help from Pathstone, and just 2 weeks ago, Matt was in Ottawa competing in a national improv competition. He'll be studying dramatic arts at Brock University in the fall. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Beard.
Thank you all so much. I was a little nervous about speaking tonight, but after what we all just saw, I'm not nervous anymore. Because I know that when I look out in this room, these are some of the most compassionate and just generous people that I've ever seen. So thank you for that. The stories that we've heard tonight and the reason that we're all here, that's enough to make anyone truly touched. Really, anyone in the world could come into this room and just feel deeply moved by what we're all here to do. But as I stand here today, I have to say that I feel especially grateful to everyone at Pathstone because I've battled with mental illness myself, and I'm just hoping that if I can take a minute of your time, I can tell you what my experience was like with Pathstone. So about 2.5 years ago, as I was starting my grade 10 year of high school, I began to notice feelings that I didn't quite understand, feelings that I had never felt before. I remember one day specifically in class, I was sitting there and I got this queasy feeling in the pit of my stomach. And you know, at first I tried to ignore it, but soon it crept up into my lungs, into this sort of tight tension, and then the room started spinning and it moved up into my throat. I felt like I couldn't breathe, and I was terrified because I'd never felt like this before, just out of the blue, for no reason. But what I would eventually learn was that this was just some of the symptoms that make up an anxiety disorder. Now, in those first few months, it seemed impossible to describe how I was feeling to anyone. For a while, I legitimately thought that I was going insane because there were thoughts in my head that made no sense. And I knew that they made no sense, but that didn't stop them. That didn't stop the thoughts from terrifying me or from growing or from spiraling into just worse and worse versions of themselves. You know, I spent most of my time during that period just lying in bed trying to wrestle with those thoughts. I missed a lot of school, I couldn't sleep, I wasn't keeping in contact with my friends, and I certainly wasn't pursuing any of my hobbies or doing any of my homework. You know, it was so bad that I couldn't even walk down a crowded hallway without spiraling into a full-blown panic attack. But finally, one day I felt the courage to explain my situation to my girlfriend at the time, and she took one look at me and said, "Matt, that sounds like anxiety. You should probably talk to someone." It was terrifying to admit that I needed help. It was so scary. But I went to my guidance counselor and I said, "Can you please connect me to the right people?" And let me tell you, she connected me to the right people because I was referred to Pathstone, and I can honestly say it was one of the greatest decisions of my life. I got to sit down and talk with one of the most empathetic and kind people I've ever met. She's here today, a therapist named Sarah Connolly. Now, she explained to me that I was not insane and that I was not alone. You know, for the first time I understood that people from all different walks of life experienced anxiety and that the treatment really does work. You know, with Pathstone, I learned a terminology for how to understand how I was feeling, and I learned real strategies for how to deal with that. I learned about coping mechanisms and about my triggers, and I had someone to check in with me every week and make sure that I was safe. Yes, there were still days that were so hard. There were still days that felt like hell, when my mind was a prison and I felt like I was just trying to escape. I remember there were even times when I convinced myself that I would feel that way forever. You know, there was no miracle all at once, but slowly, day by day, and week by week, I made progress. I learned how to breathe and how to meditate and how to feel safe connecting with my feelings. I learned what to do in times of crisis. I learned that exercise and journaling helped me to release extra tension, but most importantly, I learned that my mental health did not need to define me as a person. With Pathstone, I learned how to separate my anxiety from myself and deal with it head on. That was the gift that Sarah gave me, and that was the gift that all of Pathstone has given me. The ability to look at my mental health and say, I'm not afraid and I'm not alone. And now, you might notice that a lot of what I've been saying tonight has been in the past tense, and that's because today I'm proud to say that I have my life back. I have not had a panic attack, an obsessive thought spiral, or an anxiety attack in over a year. I have not missed school due to mental illness in over a year. I have not turned down friendships or new experiences or my passions in over a year. In fact, I found the courage to pursue improvised comedy, just going up on stage without a script. What is that, you know? Before I came to Pathstone, I couldn't even walk down a crowded hallway. And today, I'm standing in front of almost 700 people telling them my story. And I'm not telling you that so you'll clap. I'm telling you that because I want to make you a promise. I promise to all of you today that treatment works. Thank you for listening, and thank you for supporting this organization.
Matt, thank you for sharing your personal story, for one, and with that heartfelt feeling that you were sharing to help them understand what anxiety. Anxiety is very debilitating, as he described, but he went from debilitating anxiety to a sense of liberation and liberating freedom of success. And when you show this type of experience, it gives hope and inspiration to others, especially at Pathstone. And I'm so appreciative that you shared that how Sarah did a great job with you. Thank you, Sarah. Well done. And that's only reflective of many of the therapists at Pathstone. They're incredible with the expertise that they have and how empathic they are. They're doing a phenomenal job. So I thank and I honor all our Pathstone staff. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. Well done.